Rome has a very interesting history. A visit to Rome should be on everybody's bucket list. It's a great place to be a tourist. Part of that history begins in 1300 when Pope Boniface proclaimed it was the first holy year, and this brought a huge influx of pilgrims, or tourists, into the city, and this was a huge economic boon, and it brought much badly needed infusion of life and cash to the city. Unfortunately, this effect was only temporary because the holy year brought about new power struggles and infighting between the Roman noble families. Apparently, this fight was particularly vicious, even by Roman standards. The hostile political climate in Rome, along with other factors, prompted a huge shake-up, and as a consequence, the headquarters of the Catholic Church and the papacy were moved to Avignon, France. Rome had been the seat of a spiritual leadership for a very long time, predating Christianity. The move of the papacy made Rome a city without a master. It was like a stray dog. It was cut off from commerce and no longer spiritually important. During this time, when the papacy was in Avignon, Rome languished. The infrastructure crumbled, streets deteriorated, and things were looking very shabby indeed. So when the Catholic Church finally got tired of being at the beck and call of French rulers, more squabbling ensued, and eventually they did move back to Rome. But by then, Rome looked awful. It was raggedy, lots of pasture land interspersed by the ruins of ancient times. You could hardly swing a cat without hitting the ruins of an ancient villa. It looked like the seat of God's power in earthly form, and no, it did not. So in an effort to spruce up Rome, the first new pope after the move from Avignon was Martin V, and he embarked on an endeavor to spiritually and politically spruce up the church. Martin V's program soon had politically powerful Roman families competing with each other to have the upper hand on magnificence. Taxes were also collected, which financed many civic and spiritual endeavors. The next pope, Nicholas the Builder, took things even further and got the ancient aqueduct system renovated and working, as well as fortifications and housing improvements to the Vatican. But despite all this, Rome had an inferiority complex. I mean, how could you compete with Florence? While the papacy had been absent, Florence in the north had become an enviable power and commerce hub. The wool and banking trades under the Medici family were booming. The town supported 5,000 guild members, and they also had a say in political affairs. Florence now also had a fabulous cathedral with a dome to beat all domes thanks to Brunelleschi's genius and financing by the powerful Medici family. There was a growing collection of artists there, and they were creating beautiful masterpieces in a new style. How was Rome to compete? Well, the answer came in a twofold solution. The first was to mine the past. The Vatican underwent a major archaeological endeavor to recover some of the ancient artwork from Rome's glory days. Many important works from the past were literally drug out of the river and were now housed at the Vatican, where you can see them today. The second part of this invigoration reinvention program was to attract some of the best and brightest artists to come to Rome and work on beautifying the church, and this meant luring them away from Florence. Well, this got a little bit easier during the reign of Leo X, who was a Medici. So in an attempt to glorify God and position Rome as the spiritual center of God's kingdom on earth, we can now enjoy some of the most beautiful works of religious art created by Michelangelo and Raphael, as well as others. Thanks to this effort, the School of Athens, Sistine Chapel, all these beautiful masterpieces were created in an effort to reinvent Rome during the High Renaissance.